Welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. Join me as we have a real-life discussion on how to change your life by changing your thoughts. Remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth. Hi, and welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. My name is Sloan Fremont, and I'm your host. This week we're going to be talking about don't let everything fool you. Another week in what seems like, 2020 has carried over and we're still dealing with craziness in 2021. And right now I feel like it's so easy to get swept up into just this cloud, this like tornado of confusion with everything going on. And so I'll explain what I mean by that. But really the theme this week is, I think it's coming back to ourselves. It's coming back home to ourselves and really getting serious about what it is that we believe, right? What is your core belief, right? What do you know within your heart and soul that is true for you, right? And with that knowing, what are you going to do with that, right? Like, are you willing to compromise on your core beliefs in order to whatever, right? In order to fit in order to, I don't know, exist. It almost feels like at times right now. But so, all right, so let me just get into this. I really don't have notes on this week, a lot of this, because honestly, I really struggled with even what to talk about this week, because there was so much I wanted to say, but so much I don't even know how to say right now, and so much that I haven't even fully reconciled and processed myself. But all right, let me first start out with the amount of censorship we're seeing right now. All right, so as I'm recording this, everyone knows that I'm sure that the President of the United States Twitter account was permanently suspended. Many other people's accounts were suspended as well. And no matter what, even if you don't agree with the message, you don't agree with the person, the United States is based on freedom of speech, right? And so we're seeing that being taken away right now at epic levels. And it may seem silly as a social media account, but as we've seen over 2021, right? It doesn't stop with just one thing, right? It's 1,000 little cuts that just keep getting deeper and deeper. And so this idea of censorship coming, seeing it happen before your eyes, maybe the feelings that come with that, right? The anger, the rage, the confusion, or maybe some of you are happy about it. I don't know. But I think as Americans, we should all really start to question that, right? Like, if you're not already questioning things, hopefully this is maybe the tipping point that gets you kind of like, something isn't right here, right? And so knowing that and seeing that and experiencing that, right? Things that we never thought we would experience, it takes us to the next kind of point with this is, okay, what do we do with that information, right? What do we do? And I've thought a lot about this, and in a lot of these instances, there does feel like there isn't much we can do, right? Like, nobody's listening to me. My voice isn't being heard. And if you're feeling that way, I want you to know you're not alone, right? There are so many of us that feel exactly that same way. And I don't have all the answers today. I don't even claim to. I don't have any sort of like, obviously, insider information. All I have is I'm a person who follows things. I feel like I have a pretty strong intuition, and I have a microphone, so I'll tell you what I think. And again, this is information for you to consume. You take what I offer you, you consider it, you use what you think works for you, and leave the rest, right? We talk about that every week, and I just want to remind you of that. But what I've really been thinking about a lot of this is really focusing in on what we can control, right? So it does seem like things are, and they are in a lot of cases, out of control. But when it comes back to us who are at home and watching all of this or seeing these things happen, what can we control? And we can control where we've talked a lot about this, I think, over the past year too, but where we spend our time, where we spend our focus, where we spend our money, right? And if we start looking at these things and seeing these things happen that we don't agree with, now more than ever, it's time to stop participating in those things, right? If you see something that you don't agree with or that is not lining up with your beliefs, like, why is this company doing that? Or why is this platform doing that? It's time to start moving away from these things, right? It's time to get off these platforms. It's time to stop spending money with these companies that don't align with our beliefs, right? Or your beliefs, or in general, with what your core beliefs are. And so as we're seeing this censorship and we're experiencing this, right, we're seeing other sites pop up, other social media sites. There's sites like Gab and Parler that were completely, overwhelmed with all the new users coming in. And, I don't think anybody expected this to happen the Black Friday that had happened, right, when all these accounts got taken down and everybody was just kind of dumbfounded that it actually did happen, even though it had been talked about and predicted. But so these other sites are coming up, and we're seeing all these other sites, and people are scrambling and doing all this stuff, and that's great, right? That's great, because that means people are sick of it. People are moving away from these big tech companies that want to try to censor, silence voices, right? And in the double standards that we're seeing, right? The double standards, how it's fine for one, but not for the other. So the point of that, or I guess the piece of that I wanted to say is to start, again, focusing on what we can control, and putting our time and our effort and our money into these other things that maybe more align with your core beliefs. And as we're seeing all of this go down and all of this happen, and why I wanted to talk about this from the perspective of don't let everything fool you, is because there is a lot of, there is so much going on right now. It's really hard, and it has been, but I feel even more this week. It's really hard to understand what's true. It's hard to understand where to put our focus. It's hard to understand, nobody knows, right? Everybody's trying to know, right? Everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to be the one that breaks the news also, right? So there's an element of that in there. But I think nobody knows, and that's unsettling, right? It's extremely unsettling as humans just to not know, right? And feel like things are so out of control, and feel like that we don't know what's next, or why is this happening, or seeing this information come out that's like, wait a minute, once again, this doesn't feel right, or this doesn't sound right, or, taking it past the narrative or the headlines that are being offered. So I talked about this, I think, last week also, about the pendulum at least swinging for me completely the other way, where I feel like that, like I said, I don't even almost believe anything, because everything is so out there. It's like I don't even know where to go with my beliefs right now, right? It's like they're being stretched and destroyed at the same time. And I come back to what I said at the beginning of really understanding what our core beliefs are, right? Your core beliefs, my core beliefs, they're not going to be the same, and that's fine. That's not the point here. But the point is really getting honest with yourself about that, about what is it that you really believe, right? Like for me, and again, these are just for me. It doesn't mean it's going to be for you, and I wouldn't expect it to be. But, as I'm thinking about this, like what do I truly believe, right? I'm getting caught up in all this information. I'm getting caught up in these headlines. I'm getting caught up in these stories. And so as I step back from that, what do I really believe? And for me, I truly believe that everything is always working out for me. I do believe that. I right now it's being tested beyond anything I've ever experienced. But I do believe, I don't believe we're brought into this world left alone. I believe there's a higher power. I refer to it as the universe that carries us, that we're able to connect with. I believe that our soul, our higher self, whatever you want to call it, exists, outside of us, and we're able to tap into that and connect. And I believe that we're shown things, we're able to grow, we're carried along our path by a higher power outside of us. And I personally do not believe we were dumped into this world to fend for ourselves. And, reality is exactly as it's perceived, right? I've experienced that in my own life, where things have looked one way, and, a month or two later, they end up being completely the opposite and working in my favor, right? That hand of the universe, or that, we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. And it's really easy to try to predict that, or to try to, talk ourselves into something one way or the other, because we've got this limited perspective. So believing that everything is always working out for me, that is for me one of my core beliefs. I also personally believe that the truth will always come out. The truth is the truth. It's what it is. It's got its own energy. It carries itself. To me, lies are a completely different energy that require a million times more effort than the actual truth does. The truth easily flows, where lies are heavy and require, like I said, so much effort. So I truly believe that the truth always comes out in the end. And I also believe that, as people, as humans, when we do something with pure intentions, right, with a pure heart, with good in mind, right, we show up somewhere with an intention, and it's not an intention to harm. I truly believe coming from life or an event or the world from that angle, you prevail, right? You're again, it has a different energy than somebody showing up with malice or deception or trying to do something terrible, right? There's two different extremely opposite ends of the spectrum energetic levels there. And to me, the truth floats, I guess I would say, and so does doing something with a pure heart. So as we're seeing this unfold right now in the U.S., particularly, is what I'm talking about here. I just would, for this week, what I wanted to offer is just not letting everything fool us, right? Like not letting everything, not getting caught up in the tidal wave of the headlines and the bait and switch type, or the headlines that pull you in, right? They're so outrageous that they pull you in and do nothing but cause inner rage and turmoil, right? Like it's so, and I've been doing it myself. So I'm definitely not like lecturing or, trying to act like that I've got this all figured out, because I don't. I just offer a perspective every week, and that's what I'm doing now. But I think one of the ways we get out of this, out of not letting everything fool us, is coming back to our core beliefs of what we truly believe about the world. And yes, our beliefs have been shaken over the last, year now. They've been essentially, like, I feel like brought to our knees in our beliefs, right? But as humans, we come in with beliefs, right? We have this set of beliefs. Our beliefs change over time. Our beliefs mold. Our beliefs, get refined. They grow with us. But we all have beliefs, and our beliefs are ours, right? They're ours. It's not for somebody else to tell us what we should or shouldn't believe. It's not for somebody else to lay out the beliefs for us, right? It's for us. That's part of being a sovereign human that creates our own reality, right? I'm a sovereign being, and I create my own reality. And having our core beliefs go along with that. So this to me has been helpful this week, to come back to that, to what the core beliefs are for me, and focusing on that, taking a step back. And we're also at this point right now where, and I've talked about this before, about my struggle with this, with, the more passive approach to the law of attraction, and waiting for something to happen, and, kind of avoiding everything, and, not really paying attention. And I think for a period of time, for me at least, that worked, right? But I've talked about this for quite a while now, that I felt like I was in a place where that just didn't work for me anymore. And you don't have to be there. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that we all need to consume information 24/7 and just, let it just completely run our lives. No, that's not what I'm saying either. I feel that I'm at a point where I need to have at least enough situational awareness. I need to be kept updated on what's going on. Because, none of us we don't know what's going to happen, right? We're in uncharted territories right now, with some of the stuff that we're seeing. And it's wise, I think, to, be aware. And I'm not trying to predict doom and gloom. Nothing like that. All I'm saying is that, now would be a good time maybe to start thinking about things like, if there's any sort of disaster in the world, how might I react to that, right? And again, I'm not trying to be alarming. I'm not trying to, I don't have any again, there's no inside information. I'm not trying to say I'm predicting something or I've had some, future vision. That's not at all what I'm saying. I think at any time, it's always a good time to review your plan of what you might do in the case of a disaster. We saw that here in Nashville around Christmas, right? With the bombing that took down all of the AT&T phone lines, and it took down our 911. It took down even like I know the library here. I use the library a lot to check out books, and their system was offline quite a while after the bombing. After the actual cell phones came back on, the library system was down. And so if you think about this kind of stuff, right? So what do you do in the event of a communication outage, right? Like, how would you contact people, or how would you let people know, that you're safe, that kind of stuff, right? And I'm talking about like cell phone communication, right? Wi-Fi, internet completely goes down. Maybe what would your next steps be, right? Like if you have family around you, maybe if there's no communication, your steps are just to go to their house and kind of hang out until things pass, right? Or maybe, whatever that might look like for you, it's never a bad idea to start thinking about that kind of stuff and at least have a loose plan in place. I always think having extra food and water on hand is not a bad idea. And again, I'm not saying you have to become a prepper and, fill your house with a stockpile. That's not what I'm saying either. But, it's never a bad idea to have extra food on hand. We saw some of that kind of stuff early on last year when, the corporate media was giving us signals that certain things would be out of stock, right? And that caused rushes on things and left the grocery store shelves bare, right? So I think maybe we all learned from that a little bit, and maybe it's wise to keep supplies on hand. Even extra things like medicine or, aspirin or, Neosporin, things like that, having that kind of stuff on hand that, doesn't go bad, right? Band-Aids will last for a while, right? But just that kind of stuff. And even like batteries and flashlights, right? Having an emergency radio, right? We had last year in Nashville, we had the tornado, and I'll admit I did not have an emergency radio. So when the alarm went off on my phone, I looked out the window as my room was shaking, and I went back to bed, which again probably was not the wisest thing. But since then, I have an emergency radio that has a solar charger, and it charges with the sun, and it also has a port that I can charge my phone on. So again, I don't tell you any of these things as like some sort of alarm, like something's happening tomorrow in the sky. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that things are a little bit weird right now with the amount of censorship we're seeing. It's really easy to be swept up into all of this and not know what to believe. I think a lot of us are experiencing that. And so because of those things, we go back to focusing on what we can control, right? We can't control the world, but what we can control is our situation, ourselves, right? Us. So like I talked about, understanding what your core beliefs are. That's something that helps navigate some of these headlines and these stories that we're seeing. And then even with the, not really understanding what might be next in the world with things such as censorship and things, really being able to understand what your plans might be in the event something happens where you can't use your normal methods of communication, right? You can't make a phone call, or you can't, get online like you might be used to. And again, I say all these things because of things we've recently seen. Like I said, in Nashville, we had a bombing that took out a lot of the phone systems. And then, we had a tornado here, and it was very bad. And so having something like an emergency radio that helps you to be able to quickly get information and easily in the event that other methods are down is probably just not a bad idea. So I know that's a lot this week. I know there's a lot going on. I'm struggling with it too. So you're definitely not alone. We're all navigating this together. We are all in, it's easy to get off. It's easy to get out of our, I don't even know the words I'm looking for here. It's like, it's easy to forget all the things that we spent all the time learning or working on ourselves with, right? Over the past however long. For me, it's been like 5 or 6 years now. And it feels like with what we're seeing right now, it's really easy to throw all those beliefs and concepts out the window because everything is just so fucked up and it's on such epic levels. But I went down that path for quite some time of throwing that out the window, and that didn't work. It did not work. It got me to such a low point that I struggled with even existing, honestly, at that point. And so what I've come full circle back to is focusing on my beliefs. What do I truly believe? What is in my core? What is my, like, in my own conscience that I will not go against, and staying in my span of control and focusing on that, knowing that I don't like what's going on outside around me, right? By focusing on what I can control, it's not me accepting any of this stuff as anything that I agree with, but it's helping me to mentally navigate this and keep me from that ultimate low place where I have been multiple times over the past year. And I go back to what I said earlier about truly believing, and you don't have to believe this. I'm just saying this is my belief, that I believe that there is a higher power that guides us, that helps us, that's here, that's assisting us, that our universe actually is a friendly universe that's here to help us, right? It's not a punishment situation. And I believe we're seeing a lot of this craziness to take us on the other side of this, like we've talked about with the Great Awakening, and we have to awaken to some of this stuff in order for it to change. And we're in the painful part of the process right now. So stick with it seems like such an understatement, but we're here for a reason. We all are. And my thoughts are just that this isn't going to be this way forever. And everything is working out for us, even though it doesn't feel like it in this minute right now. It is. So let's carry the new week with that and see where that takes us. All right, so I think that's it for this week. And I wanted to remind you guys of something. I started doing these shorter videos during the week. Well, I only got a couple actually uploaded, but I wanted to do in between shows. I wanted to do what I was calling Reality Management Series, which was a series that helped navigate this time, with little short bits of information, little short inspirational bits of information between podcasts. And I was using the platform called BitChute, and I don't know what's going on with that platform. It's not a censorship thing. I don't know if so many people are trying to use it that it just is not working properly, but I cannot get videos uploaded to that. I think I've gotten one maybe in the past week, because I do put these shows on BitChute as well. I add some video and other graphics and such, but I'm having a problem with BitChute and it's just not working. And so I'm looking for another solution to that. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is moving over to Gab TV. Gab has been one of the leaders, I think, in free speech. They've been persecuted. They've been kicked off all payment processing platforms. They have, he actually takes actual checks now, like you mail him a check for the pro accounts because of what they've experienced, people trying to shut them down. They've been booted out of the app stores long ago, long before any of this happening. So they just recently launched Gab TV, which is a similar video platform. So I think I'm going to be moving to that to keep Gab and Gab TV all in one place. I like the, having both of those in one place. So that's probably what I'm going to be moving to. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Also, now more than ever, if there's anything you do after the show, I would highly recommend you download Telegram and join my channel. There's a lot of information in Telegram that you don't, it's alternative news, I would definitely call it. There's various channels in there you can join. Obviously, like anything, not everything is accurate in there, but it's an alternative place for discussion. It's an alternative place for information. I post a lot in there. I do also have a chat in there. If you'd like to, we can, open up the chat for all of us to be chatting. But I would highly recommend Telegram as well. So mainly right now, Gab Telegram, and Parler are the places I'm at. I also have a Mayway account that doesn't seem to be used quite as much right now, but who knows where that'll go from here. So, all right, so that's it for this week. If you have any questions, I would love to hear from you. You can email me, sloanfremont@pm.me. Go to my website, sloanfremont.com. I have all the shows on the website. Each show has its own page. And within that, I have all the links to everything you could need, to my social media, to contacting me. I do also accept Bitcoin donations now. I have a Bitcoin account, and I got that set up. So that's pretty exciting to see. If you aren't familiar with Bitcoin, it's going crazy as far as going up. That's been really interesting. So I think that's it. So have a good week. Remember, we're all here together. I'm here for you. You're not alone. It isn't just you that feels a particular way. Most of us are feeling the same way. So you're not alone. We can do this. We can get through this, and we will do it together. And remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth.